Okay everybody, today's tutorial is on block 4 of the hashtag topsy-turvy tri-stitch along. And this block was started out with the knit, which is the knitted rib stitch. It's the beaded rib stitch. Then our second section is the Tunisian rib stitch. And our third section, which is our crochet, is a crochet post type stitch. It doesn't have a name. So if you have your hooks, your needles, and your yarn, we'll get started. Now, the knit is the first section that I did. Again, you don't have to do these in the same order I did. This is your first section, the beaded rib, and you can see it's only a 2-row repeat. So, let me just get my notes here. And this is a cast on multiple of 5 plus 2. Now, I will give you a heads up in this block. We're going to have to finagle one of the sections by just one stitch, but that's easy enough to do. So for time's sake, I'm only going to cast on 20 plus my 2. Multiple of 5 times 4 is 20 plus 2. So I do have a tutorial for a long tail cast on. You just go to my playlist, you will find it. If I can remember, make a note here to link cast on. Okay, so let's cast on your stitches. I'm going to do 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I hope I left enough tail here. 10, 11, 12, 13. Nope. So go ahead and cast your stitches on. I'll be right back because I've got to get a little bit extra tail here. Cast on your stitches and I will meet you right back here. Okay, got it right the second time. Remember, it's a multiple of 5 plus 2. I did a multiple of 5 times 4 would be 20 plus my 2 stitches, so I should have 22 stitches. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 22. Okay. So our first row, we start off with purl 2. So if you remember, your purl stitch, your yarn's to the front, and your needle comes from the back to the front, and it's counterclockwise around your needle. Purl 1, purl 2. Now we're going to yarn to the back. Now we're going to knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. So there's knit 1, yarn to the front, purl 1, yarn to the back, knit 1. Now we're going to purl 2, yarn to the front, purl 2, 1, 2. That is the repeat for the row. So yarn to the back. It will be knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2. So knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2, 1, 2. Yarn to the back, and we will knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2, 1, 2 to the back, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, and purl 2. And that finishes our first row. And we're going to turn our work, and we will now do the next row. And the next row begins with a knit 2. So we're going to knit 2, bring our yarn to the front, we're going to purl 3, knit 2. That's 3 repeat for the whole row. So let's purl 3, there's 1, 2, 3, yarn to the back, knit 1, knit 2. That's the repeat. Yarn to the front, purl 3, 1, 2, 3, yarn to the back, 1, 2, yarn to the front, a purl 3, there's 1, 2, 3, yarn to the back, to knit 2, 1, 2, yarn to the front, a purl 3, and then a knit 2. There's purl 1, 2, 3, and knit 2. And those are the 2 rows you're going to repeat for this section. So let's turn, and I'll do 2 more rows with you. 1 more repeat of the 2 rows. So we're back to row 1, right side, and that starts off with a purl 2. So let's purl 2. Remember your yarns to the front. 1, 2, then yarn to the back, and our repeat for the row is knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2. So let's do that. Knit, make sure your yarn's to the back, knit 1, yarn to the front, purl 1, yarn to the back, knit 1, yarn to the front, purl 2. That's your repeat for the row. 1, 2. Let's try that again. Knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2. Yarn to the back, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2. And we're going to knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 2, and that will finish my row. Now, however many stitches you cast on, you get to the end of your row. Like I said, for time's sake, I'm just doing, a shorter swatch for the tutorial. Now, the second row, we do knit 2, and then our repeat will be purl 3, knit 2 to the end of the row. So, let's do our knit 2, yarn to the front. We're going to purl 3, 1, 2, 3, knit 2, 1, 2, purl 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we knit 2, yarn to the back, 1, 2, yarn back to the front, purl 3, 1, 2, 3, yarn to the back, knit 2, yarn to the front, purl 3, yarn to the back, and knit 2. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my 2-row repeat for my section off camera, and I will meet you back here for the transition row to go into our Tunisian section. So you go ahead and do your repeat. You know, I usually do mine 2 to 2.5 inches. So I will meet you back here. Okay, now it's time to cast off. So we're just going to do a regular cast off. Go here. We're going to knit 1 stitch, knit 2 stitches, take that first, do not make this a tight, make it loose, make sure you don't do this too tight. There's cast 1, knit another stitch, take that back stitch, pass it over top, the stitch, pass that over, the stitch, and do this all the way to the end, because the next section we're doing is the Tunisian, and we always do the Tunisian on the right side because we don't turn our Tunisian. So that's why it's important you know which side is your right side. We happen to be just casting off on the right side. So we'll make sure we keep this turned. I'm doing this nice and loose because you've got to pick up, we're going to be picking up our stitches for the Tunisian. Finish this, and then we'll take a look at our next section, the Tunisian Rib Stitch. Now, as I have been doing in the past videos, I will be putting the rows, the stitches and stuff on the video, so you will be able to follow along, pause the video as needed. I find that everybody seems to think that is helpful, so I'll keep doing that. Alright, one more stitch. We're not going to cut, just pull up on your stitch. Put your knitting needle aside, grab your Tunisian, and just lay that there, like that. Okay? Now, this is the Tunisian Rib Stitch we're going to be doing. Let's see if I can I'll get the camera up here a little bit. Okay. This is the Tunisian Rib Stitch. And this here's only a 2-row repeat, but we'll begin doing here. So, this here is a 4 stitches with plus 2. So we are going to go in and we're going to pick up our stitches. So we're going to need 20. I'm going to need 22 because a multiple of 4, which would be 16 or 20. So if I go 16, then I'm going to need 18 stitches. Or excuse me, yeah, 18 stitches. So this is my first stitch on here. Let me put this back down so you can see what I'm doing. So there's my first stitch. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One thing with when we're doing the Tunisian, you can always pick up any extra stitch you need to pick up to make your multiple. So we got 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There's my multiple of 4 plus 2. 1. And then we got this end stitch here, which will be our end stitch on the Tunisian. I'll get some on here. And so I should have 22 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. And of course, we're going to come and do our return pass. So there's 1, pull through 2, pull through 2, 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 and you do that all the way to the end. And this is our setup row. The next block are honeycomb stitches. Nope, that's block 6. Okay. So there is the setup stitch. Now you guys remember, put this out of the way here. Sorry about that. Okay, first thing we're going to do, we're going to skip our first stitch. It's right here. We're going to do a Tunisian knit. In the next stitch, we'll do a Tunisian knit stitch. Knit stitch was, you go between the stitch like that. Okay, from front to back. Spread your stitch apart here, like that, and you put your needle from front to back, yarn over, and pull through. Okay, and then we're going to do a Tunisian purl stitch in the next 2 stitches. So Tunisian purl stitch If you remember, we bring our yarn to the front, and then we go like a simple stitch, and then bring your yarn back under. If you remember, our Tunisian purl stitch. And I messed that up. I apologize. Yarn's in front, go under, okay, I'm going to leave my little brain fart in there. Okay, so we knit in our first stitch, and then we're going to do two Tunisian purl stitch, a Tunisian purl stitch in the next two stitches. So if you remember from before, you have to just push your yarn to the front, but don't hook it. Go into the next stitch on your front bar, and then just put your yarn behind and do your wrap and pull through. Just bring your yarn to the front, in front of your hook. Go in the front, through the front bar, and then put it back behind, and then your yarn over and pull through. And then you're going to Tunisian knit in the next two stitches. So go between for your Tunisian knit stitch, bring it up, Tunisian knit stitch, bring it up, and this is our repeat all the way across. Okay, so bring your yarn in front of your hook. If you want to hold it back with your finger, you can. And then you're going to go like Tunisian simple stitch, and then let your yarn go behind your hook, yarn over, bring yarn in front, and then put it back behind, yarn over your hook. Now we're going to do Tunisian knit stitch. If you're still having trouble, see if I can show you a little bit. Let me just zoom in a little bit here. See if I can get this to focus a little bit. Okay. To do the Tunisian knit stitch, there's your stitch. Take the head of your hook and go front to back between, like that, between your stitch. And then yarn over and bring it up. Between your stitch, like that, and yarn up. Now we're going to do two purl stitches. Here's the difference for your purl stitch. Okay, bring your yarn in front of your hook. Now for your purl stitch, you're just going in the front bar. If you were doing the knit stitch, you'd be going front to back, but you're just going in front of the front bar for your purl stitch, and then you just let your yarn go back behind your hook, then yarn over and pull it through. Put the yarn in front of your hook, front of your bar, back behind your hook again, then yarn over, bring it through. And that's the repeat all the way to the end. Two Tunisian knit stitches, and then two Tunisian purl stitches. Knit stitch, knit stitch, purl stitch, purl stitch, knit stitch, and then the last stitch will be a knit stitch. Okay, we'll zoom back out. Make sure you always have your same count. So that's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Oh, I'm missing a stitch here. So that means I missed it. Yep, there's a stitch I missed right there. So all I have to do is just go back. I'll pull back here. Got my stitch there. So I missed a stitch right there. I missed a stitch way back there. So it was 2 purl, and then we're going to do 2 knits. This is the first stitch you skip, is this first one right here. And then we're going to Tunisian knit stitch, and then 1 Tunisian purl stitch. Okay, yarn to the front. There we go. Then it's going to be 2 Tunisian purls, 2 Tunisian knits. Again, we're not going to edit this. We'll leave the boo-boos in. So there's your Tunisian purl. We got another Tunisian purl. Now it's 2 Tunisian knit. 1, 2. Tunisian purl. Tunisian purl. Tunisian knit. Now it's Tunisian purl. Tunisian purl. Tunisian knit stitch. Tunisian purl. Now it's 2 Tunisian knit stitches. 1, 2, 2 Tunisian purl stitches. One Tunisian knit stitch. And then we do that last one's always a chain. Make sure you get under both legs of the stitch, like that. Yarn over, pull through. Alright, and then it's yarn over under 1 loop, and then it's yarn over under 2 loops the rest of the way back. Get some more yarn here. That's what it looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to repeat that last row for this whole section. So skip this first stitch right here, and then the next stitch is Tunisian knit stitch. Then it's going to be 2 Tunisian purl stitch. So yarn to the front, through the front bar, back behind, Tunisian purl stitch, Tunisian knit stitch, Tunisian purl stitch, do a close-up on this purl stitch for you. See if, just in case you're having some problems with it. Okay, do a close-up on this purl stitch. Okay, if you need to use your other finger to help hold your stitch forward, that's fine. You need to bring your yarn in front of your hook, then you go under the bar of the stitch, then bring your yarn back behind your hook, to do your yarn over, and then pull it through the loop. Do that again. Bring your yarn to the front of your hook like this, then go underneath your front bar, and then bring it back behind to do your yarn over and bring it through your bar there. In the front, under the bar, behind, yarn over, through. Then we do 2 knit stitches. Yarn to the front, the bar, yarn to the back, yarn over, through the loop. Yarn to the front, under the bar, yarn to the back, yarn over, through the loop. 2 knit stitches, yarn to the front, the bar, yarn to the back, yarn over, through the loop, yarn to the front, under the bar, yarn to the back, yarn over, through the loop, knit stitch, Tunisian knit stitch, then underneath the 2 bars for the last stitch, yarn over, pull through the loops. And then we're going to yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over through 2 loops, all the way back to the beginning. And that is your repeat for this whole section. It will be 1 Tunisian knit stitch, then 2 Tunisian purls, 2 Tunisian knits, all the way till you get to the last 2 stitches, and it'll be 1 Tunisian knit stitch, and then your last, which we call it a chain, but you go under both bars, and then yarn over through 1 loop and then through 2, and you do that for 2.5 inches. And then I will meet you back here and we will do our bind off. So go ahead and do your section, and I'll meet you back here and we'll do the bind off together. Okay, I have got mine to where I'm going to be binding off so we can finish our section of the Tunisian Rib Stitch. So if you remember, to do finish our Tunisian section, we, just like the Tunisian simple stitch, we go under, yarn over, and pull through both stitches, almost like a slip stitch. You go to the next one, yarn over, and pull through both. And it's just like a slip stitch, and you do that all the way across, and that closes up your stitch and gives you that finished look. And you can do either the simple stitch or the knit stitch, whichever one you prefer. I just do the simple stitch. It gives you the same look. It just closes up that section you have. Your bar, yarn over, pull through, you go under your bar, yarn over, pull through, pull through, under your bar, yarn over, pull through, don't make it tight, yarn over, pull through, pull through, pull through, pull through, pull through, pull through, bring it down here. Oops. And don't forget your last one here. Always make sure you get underneath both your bars so you get that clean edge. I'm just going to pull my stitch up here, and then that finishes your Tunisian rib stitch. Now the next stitch we have is this is in big, oops, sorry about that, is in my, we'll zoom this out, is in my big book of, the complete book of crochet stitch design. And the stitch we're doing, like I said, they don't have names, it's just under the post stitches. And this is the one that we're doing right here. And it's 5 rows. And we'll repeat these row 2 through 5 to get the pattern. So now we're going to have a transition row between the Tunisian and the crochet. So we're going to put our Tunisian and we're going to grab our crochet hook. Now we're going to be on a wrong side row here. And our transition row, let's get this here, our transition row is going to be a row of half double crochets. So we can get back to the right side row. So chain 2, and you need to have a multiple of 4 plus 1. So our last one was a multiple of 4 plus 2, so I should have 21 stitches. So this first one doesn't count, so we're going to go into the same stitch and do a half double crochet. Actually, we're going to make this easy. We're just going to chain 1. Okay, just chain 1 and do a half double crochet into that same stitch. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I got squeaking, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15. I lost track of my stitches here. So let's count this. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and then there's my plus 1. Okay, so there's my 21 stitches. We're going to turn our work. Now, this is on the assumption that you're starting from a chain, okay? And it's going to tell you to double crochet. So we skipped the first row on this pattern. So we're going to chain 3. And this counts as our first double crochet. We're going to skip the first double crochet and double crochet in each stitch across. So double crochet in each double crochet across. Just gonna need to move my camera a little bit here because losing my book. So go ahead and double crochet in each one of your stitches across. Get some more yarn here. And when you get to the last, you're going to double crochet in the third chain of your turning chain. Okay? Chain 3 and turn. Okay? Now, skip your first double crochet in the next 2 double crochets. Now we're going to front post double crochet around the next double crochet. Double crochet in the next 3 double crochets. 2, 3. And that's going to be our repeat across. Double crochet in the next front post. The post, around the post of the next double crochet. And then we're going to double crochet in the next 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Then front post in the next double crochet. Then double crochet in the next 3 double crochets. Front post double crochet around the next post, the next double crochet. Double crochet in the next 3 double crochets. Front post double crochet, and then we're going to end with a double crochet in the turning chain, the 3rd chain, this will all block out, but that's what you've got right now. Okay, now we're going to chain 3 and turn, and you're going to skip the first stitch, and you're going to double crochet and each stitch across, ending with a double crochet in the 3rd chain of the turning chain. You get some more yarn. Get some more yarn on here. Okay. And we'll just finish this. Take the double crochets to the end. And that's each stitch across. Keep doing it till you get to the end, and I will meet you when I get at the other end. Alright, I'm at my last stitch, and I will be putting a double crochet in the 3rd chain of the turning chain. Go. And we're going to turn our work. And row 4, we're going to chain 3. That counts as your first double crochet. And let me get some more yarn out here. Okay. Now we're going to skip the first double crochet. And we're going to put a front post around the post, the next double crochet right here. And then we're going to double crochet in each of the next 3 double crochets. It's the same as we did on 2 rows previous. It's 1, 2, 3, and this is our repeat. Front post double crochet around the next double crochet, then we'll do 3 double crochets. It's 1, 2, 3, front post double crochet, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, front post double crochet, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, front post double crochet, double crochet, and we will end with a double crochet in the 3rd chain. And the last row in this series of repeats is you will repeat row 3 again, which is chain 3, and put a double crochet in each stitch across. Skipping the first one here, and it's a double crochet here. And I will meet you at the end. And if you look, you'll see that that's what your post stitch looks like. And yes, this ribbing on the knitting is pulling in, but once you block it, if you see on mine, once I blocked it, all my edges, oops, we'll zoom you on here. Let me see. On my zoomer here. Okay, so it's all the way out. Everything will, you know, your ends will come out nice and straight once you block it out. But because ribbing is meant to be, you know, flexible, stretchable. So this is block 4. I will be putting up, when I go to upload this, which you guys will see, it will have the pattern in the video as I'm doing it. So I hope this helps you, and I will get this uploaded so I can get busy on block 5's tutorial. Hug, smiles, happiness, pass it on, make the world a better place. Any questions or any additional help that you may need, put some messages in the comment, or put it in the comment section, or you can message me and I will be glad to help you. See you in the next video. Bye for now from Deer Island.